Assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome to our webinar for this week, which is entitled Wait What? We will be talking about conspiracy theories, we'll be talking about fake news, and we will be talking about some unvalidated, unverified treatments and cures that you might have seen in the recent past. So while we're waiting for the rest of the people to join, wanted to invite you guys to share with us your favorite conspiracy theories that you might have seen. पिछले चंद दिनों में आपने क्या कुछ देखा है, favorite conspiracy theories that you might have seen. आप ये comment section के अंदर please हमसे share कीजिए. I'm getting a lot of salams. Walaikum salam to all of you. And what I would also request is share with us where you're based. आप अगर किस city में based हैं, just put that in the comment section as well. So while you guys are doing that, let me give you the background behind this webinar. Why do we decide to do this? What was the reasoning behind this, and why we thought it was important to spend a good 45-50 minutes talking about conspiracy theories and the conspiratorial mindset. You see, the pandemic that we're going through right now, इस वक्त जिस किस्म की वबा फैली हुई है, इस वबा के अंदर कुछ इस किस्म के challenges हैं जो माजी की मुख्तलिफ वबाओं में नहीं थे. So the epidemics we had in the past, we didn't have those challenges. So we've had epidemics in the past. You are very familiar with them. You know about recent ones like SARS and MERS. You probably also know about the great influenza epidemic, which is also called the Spanish flu. आपने उससे पहले की वबाओं के बारे में भी सुना होगा. So ताउन की वबा कहीं फैलती थी. So bubonic plague that spread through Europe, and eventually from Europe it spread into some Muslim lands as well. So you're familiar with these plagues, and these plagues have spread throughout our history. However, what is new this time is how well connected the world is. In a sense, we're not just facing a situation where a virus spreads very rapidly. We're also facing a situation where people's ideas and thoughts and opinions spread very rapidly, where ideas spread very rapidly. In fact, the World Health Organization, the WHO, उन्होंने जो warning दी थी, उस warning में दो चीज़ें शामिल थी. They obviously have been warning people about the coronavirus epidemic and the COVID-19 epidemic and how serious this is for people. Lekin in addition to that, they've also been warning about an information pandemic, an infodemic, where unvalidated information gets spread across the world, and people might believe something that is mentioned, and because of that, they might put themselves in a difficult situation. So, इस specific pandemic के अंदर एक unique सा एक feature खास built in है कि हम एक जिस्मानी वबा का भी मुकाबला कर रहे हैं और हम उसके साथ साथ एक ख्यालात की वबा का भी एक मुकाबला कर रहे हैं. So these were some of the reasons why we thought it would be a good idea to talk about conspiracy theories, to talk about fake news, to talk about unvalidated treatments, to talk about some of these ideas that are spread. और इन तमाम को अगर हम जमा करें, they fall in the category of misinformation or disinformation. So disinformation is information which is spread on purpose and it is not correct. It is not valid information. And misinformation is कि हो सकता है उसके अंदर उनकी intention बुरी ना हो, लेकिन फिर भी वो information उस तरीके से spread हो जाती है. So interesting conspiracy theories. So earlier this week, our friend Abrar learned that the pharma industry for their profit induced this coronavirus and it's just a hoax. Well, that's good. Yeah, that's a good start. That's a conspiracy theory, and today we'll be talking about some things that are very similar to that. Uske alawa, the favorite conspiracy theory, our colleague Asma Ijaz, that China did this on purpose to gain global market hegemony. Well, if that was the case, then it's not working very well for them. So, but you're right, that's a conspiracy theory, and I've come across that as well. In fact, it's a conspiracy theory that has been mentioned by some very senior officials. So it's not just ordinary people doing it. Some people are very respected people are saying these sorts of things as well. So I see a lot of you are from Karachi, a bunch of people based in Islamabad. I see some people from Saudi Arabia. Then there is, did I miss a city? Kasur, okay. So a colleague of ours is here from Kasur as well. Good. So it's been about 5 minutes, and I think it's time for us to step into it. And so another conspiracy theory that just showed up: the moon landing didn't happen, or that the Earth is flat. Yeah, so we'll talk about some of those as well. Good. With these ideas of conspiracy theories, let me share with you some things that have happened very recently. So some information that has been shared with you very recently, ताकि हम categorize कर सकें ये जो तीन चीजें हैं misinformation में, where do they fall, and what could we how can we potentially label them. So I'm going to show you a slide very quickly, and in this slide you will see three parts to disinformation. The first category is conspiracy theory, and the conspiracy theory is that coronavirus is a bioweapon. ये जो लफ्ज़ है conspiracy theory, obviously what that means is it's a theory, and it's a theory about a conspiracy. किसी साजिश के बारे में कुछ लोगों की कुछ ख्यालात हैं, unvalidated हैं, इस वजह से हम उसे theory कह रहे हैं. So coronavirus is a bioweapon. That is a conspiracy theory that has been going around. In fact, I made a video about this probably 2 weeks ago, where where I analyzed this and I shared some evidence to the contrary. But nonetheless, this is a conspiracy theory, and it's one category of information that's been going around. The second category is fake news. So the image that you see here, this image is from the Beverly, I believe it's called the Beverly Center in Islamabad, where you have a bunch of people in hazmat suits. You can probably not see this very well, but these are people in hazmat suits. They're outside a restaurant called Burning Brownie, and Burning Brownie is famous for their chocolate products. So these are people in hazmat suits outside Burning Brownie, and the little snippet accompanying this said that a group of 5 or 6 people came in, and one of them was coughing, and that person eventually collapsed, and they all ran away, and then eventually the people in the restaurant called the police, and eventually people in hazmat suits showed up, और उन्होंने यहाँ पर आके टेस्ट किया और उन्हें वहाँ पे COVID-19 positive मिला. That was the news that came out about 2.5 weeks ago, and it became viral, and everybody thought that Burning Brownie has a COVID-19 problem, a coronavirus problem, so everyone should be scared. It's fake news, and I know it's fake news because these people in hazmat suits, इनको actually बाद में हमें पता चला कि Burning Brownie ने हायर किया था सैनिटाइज करने के लिए उनकी फैसिलिटी को, और that event that was mentioned actually never happened, but it spread, and for a little while I believed it too. But there are some clues that should point out to us that it was not true. There are some clues every time you receive information that is not correct. There are some clues that indicate that the information you're receiving may possibly not be true. Something to investigate further. The third piece that I wanted to show you is unverified cures. So I'll show you very quickly once again. This third piece is unverified cures. These are treatments. So जिस चीज़ की यहाँ पे बात हो रही है, this is MMS, which is chlorine dioxide. कि उसको अगर आप डाइल्यूट करके आप पी लें तो फिर आपके जिस्म से कोरोना वायरस ख़त्म हो जाता है, and the person is showing some evidence that it can get rid of, that the label says it can get rid of coronavirus. And the news item here, this was a tweet, is accompanied by a lot of complaints about how governments and pharmaceutical industry does not want you to know that this is a cheap treatment available. And I went online and I started looking for MMS and searches for MMS. And it turns out a lot of people have been searching for ways to buy MMS. Now, MMS, by the way, is very dangerous for you. If you drink it, it's not good for you. You have to be careful. We have to now figure out in this discussion, क्या वजह है कि लोग conspiracy theories फैला रहे हैं कि एक बायोवेपन है? क्या वजह है कि लोग ये इस तरह की फेक न्यूज़ फैला रहे हैं कि किसी जगह पर कोविड-19 फैल गया है और वहाँ पे इस तरह के हालात पैदा हो गए हैं, और क्या वजह है कि लोग इस तरह की अनवेरीफाइड ट्रीटमेंट्स शेयर कर रहे हैं? Why is this happening, and what potential impact can that have on us? You see, for those of us who work in organizations, The professionalism that we demonstrate in our work is measured by how trustworthy we are. Trust दो चीज़ों पे मुश्तमिल होता है. Trust, when you trust someone, it consists of two things. Number one, they might be trusting our competence. हमें कोई काम दिया जा रहा है और वो काम हम करने के काबिल हैं या नहीं है, हमारे पास वो काम करने की अहलियत है या नहीं है. So if we have it, then that means we are competent. The second aspect of it is trust in integrity. यानी trust एक competence में हो गया, दूसरा हो गया trust integrity में, कि हम में कितनी honesty है, हमारे पास से जो information आगे जाती है, चाहे हमारा vested interest हो या ना हो, हमसे जो information आगे जाती है, क्या उस information पर एतमाद किया जा सकता है या नहीं. तो trust की दो aspects होती हैं, competence और integrity. You might say I work very hard and I've improved myself and I've learned new skills and I've developed the ability to do my job really well, and that's good, but that's not enough. We also need to demonstrate integrity, and that integrity is demonstrated through continuous interaction with us. लोग हमसे रोज़ मिलते हैं, हमारे साथ मिलके काम करते हैं. आजकल वो काम रिमोटली हो रहा होगा, लेकिन कुछ अर्से के बाद फिर हम इन पर्सन काम करना शुरू कर देंगे. चाहे वो काम रिमोटली हो रहा हो या इन पर्सन हो रहा हो, उनका हमारे ऊपर एतमाद, हमारी इंटेग्रिटी पर एतमाद, हमारी उन रिपीटेड इंटरेक्शंस पर डिपेंड करेगा. सो इफ वी हैव बिल्ट अ बजट ऑफ ट्रस्ट, अ पूल ऑफ ट्रस्ट ओवर टाइम, उस इतने बड़े ट्रस्ट के पहाड़ को टूटने में ज़्यादा वक्त नहीं लगता. ऑल इट टेक्स इज bunch of false pieces of information that went through you to other people, और वो ट्रस्ट का पहाड़ गिर जाता है. अभी तो मैं आपको मिसाल दे रहा हूँ कॉर्पोरेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की, but it doesn't have to be that. You could, for instance, be seen as a trustworthy person among your circle of friends. You could be potentially seen as a trustworthy person in your extended family, and their perception of you being trustworthy is founded on how verifiable or how solid the information is that you share. अगर आप हमेशा ऐसी information share करते हैं कि उन्हें बाद में पता चलता है ये सच बोलता है, ये जो इसने कहा, जो बात इससे आई थी वो सच होगी, तो उनकी आपके बारे में perception फिर change हो जाती है और बेहतर होती जाती है. That is the trust that I'm talking about, and that trust is a very, very important resource, because it is that trust that makes us seem professional. When we are sharing information with each other, जैसे कि मैं इस वेबिनार की शुरू में कह रहा था, जब हम इस पैंडेमिक की सिचुएशन के अंदर हम इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर कर रहे हैं और हमारे पास बहुत सारी इंफॉर्मेशन आ रही है और हमें रोज़ कई मरतबा फैसले करने पड़ते हैं कि ये पर्टिकुलर पीस ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन मैं शेयर करूं या ना करूं, तो हम फ्रीक्वेंटली अपने लिए शॉर्टकट्स बना लेते हैं. साइकोलॉजी में इन शॉर्टकट्स को कहते हैं ह्यूरिस्टिक्स. HEURISTICS, heuristics. So Google that sometime. And these are mental shortcuts where you sort of develop very, very quick habits. कि अगर ये information मेरे सामने आई तो मैं क्या करूँ? Do I send it forward? Do I keep it to myself? Do I dwell on the information? Do I verify it before I send it forward? These are shortcuts that we make for ourselves. And these heuristics, these shortcuts then determine how frequently and what kind of information we end up sharing with other people. That information then forms other people's perception of us. वो हमारे बारे में क्या ख्याल रखते हैं, that perception could be a perception of veracity, यानी काबिल एतमाद, integrity. आप हमेशा जो information भेजते हैं, हमेशा आप वो information verify करके भेजते हैं, या फिर एक दूसरा एक बिल्कुल मुख्तलिफ किस्म का एक व्यू आपके बारे में हो सकता है कि अच्छा अगर इनसे आई है तो who knows. Let me start analyzing with you. I want to do this activity. I'm going to show you a bunch of news items. And what I want you to do is, I want you to see each and tell me whether you think this is credible or not. मैं जो आपको news items आपसे share कर रहा हूँ, इनमें से कुछ verifiable होंगे, कुछ नहीं होंगे. तो आपने guess करना है कि verifiable है या नहीं है. So let's start with one. Okay, so I'm going to show you something on my screen. This is a news item that I received, I think it was 2 days ago. I believe the date is April 7th. Notice what it says. Nature is healing. Dinosaurs are back at Rawal Lake in Rawalpindi due to lockdown. So think about this. It's been 2 days, and I doubt that many of you have had the opportunity to go to Rawal Lake during this time. And because you haven't been there, you might have missed this amazing sight. What do you think of this? Is this true information? Would you believe it if you got it? Would you forward it to others thinking that it is true. How many of you would do that? So just type in a yes or a no, depending on whether you think you would forward it. Now this might be an easy one. So I'll show you some easy ones and I'll show you some tough ones. Yeah, okay, so generally people are saying fake, wrong information. This one's rather obvious. Why is that though? Think about how you know that this information is fake. Oh, actually, some people, Talha says he saw them himself. There you go. I like that. Good. So how do we know this information is fake? What's in it that tells us this information? Yeah, it's a meme. Yeah, that's right. But how do we know that? It is completely unbelievable. Why? Because dinosaurs died 65 million years ago, and the gap between human beings and dinosaurs is such that it cannot be overcome like this. And how would you see dinosaurs in this? This is obviously false. Now, this was an easy one. Let's move to something that was forwarded to me by several people. This is almost like an announcement by UNICEF. Coronavirus, COVID-19, is large in size, where the cell diameter is 400 to 500 micron, actually says micro, and for this reason, any mask prevents its entry. Look at this one. I actually know of people who may or may not be on this on this webinar, the chat line with us, who have actually forwarded this to me. And I think it's worth it for us to ask this question: why is it that we would consider this trustworthy? And many people did consider it trustworthy. Why did they do that? That's right. It is because we have a verifiable source mentioned. It says UNICEF. So UNICEF, as you know, is a branch of the United Nations that deals with children. That's right. So it deals with children, and UNICEF has said that, this is one thing, ek sources mein hai. Dusra, you also notice that it mentions some technical terms. So it mentions corona, there's a space, there shouldn't be a space. I'll come to that in a minute. Coronavirus is actually one word, but it also mentions COVID-19, which is a more technical term that typically people did not know, at least did not know 2 weeks ago when this was shared. And it says large in size, where the cell diameter is 400 to 500. There's something very specific mentioned here. And after that it says micro. That's another hint. It's a typo. It should have been micron. And for this reason, any mask prevents its entry. So we noticed two things. Yahan pe ek source mentioned hai, and secondly, we noticed it has something specific mentioned in there. So it has 400 to 500 microns. These are two clues as to why it was forwarded as widely as it was. You would expect, suppose this was not on a phone, suppose it was you standing in the street and someone came up to you and said, I've heard that UNICEF says any mask is good, you don't need the N95 क्योंकि जो coronavirus है वो इतना बड़ा होता है कि any mask can prevent its entry. Suppose somebody in the street told you that. I've heard that UNICEF said that. What would your natural reaction be? You would mentally go through several steps, right? You would, first of all, evaluate that person. Would you not? You would think about what sort of a person that is. Is this a person with high integrity? Is this a person that you generally trust? Is this a person you know from the past? Is this a person who generally says things that are true? And if that is the case, then you would say, okay, but if this person is generally correct, then in this case is also likely to be correct. Number one. Number two, you would look at the piece of information. अगर वो कह रहे हो कि यूनिसेफ ने कहा है कि कोरोना वायरस का इलाज है कि किसी डायनासोर के ऊपर सवारी करें, obviously that's absurd. That's not believable. It has to be something credible. So the second thing that's happening is that the person is mentioning something credible. Mask, size of the germ, size of the microbe, how many microns it is. And well, most people are not microbiologists and they don't worry about कि एक germ का size कितना होता है versus दूसरे germ का size. So it sounds relatively correct. The third clue is, the third piece that makes us believe it is specificity. How specifically information is stated. मिसाल के तौर पे अगर मैं आपको इस वक्त एक बनी बनाई कहानी सुनाऊं, बिल्कुल अपनी तरफ से कोई conspiracy theory बनाऊं, I'll give you one. So according to data collected last summer, between June 1st, 2019 and August 30th, 2019, ice cream sales went up by at least 17.2%. And during the same time, incidence of dengue fever went up by at least 20%. Now think about this. I have mentioned specific dates. I have mentioned specific numbers. And I've said something which is credible. But what am I insinuating? I'm insinuating that ice cream sales went up and dengue fever went up. I'm actually accusing ice cream of being the cause of dengue fever, even though both might individually be actually true. Notice how many things are happening here. In my mind, as I'm listening to this sort of information, I'm breaking it down. I'm saying, well, that sounds right because he has a specific date and he has specific numbers. In fact, it was 17.9. He didn't even say approximately 17. He said 17.9. He didn't round it up to 18. He said 17.9. It must be true. It must be precisely true because specific information was mentioned. And that is a hint as to why sometimes we tend to believe things. We have this ability, this human ability to be doubtful, but that ability is put aside as soon as we start receiving information that our heuristics tell us is believable. So what is required in a situation like this is attention to detail. Most of us, we depend on our heuristics most of the time, and that's fine. क्योंकि अगर heuristics ना होती तो हम अपना रोजमर्रा का काम ना कर सकते. Heuristics are things, shortcuts like जब आप गाड़ी, if you've been driving your car for a while, when you get to the car, you don't have to think about where exactly the key is going to go. It's sort of an easy way for you to quickly put the key in. It's about, for instance, when you are trying to decide what to order in a restaurant that you go to regularly, then you don't think about it. It's a habit. When you go to that particular restaurant, you order that particular item from the menu. These are heuristics and they help you. But it becomes a problem when we're dealing with information. Because when information is coming to you and other people are questioning your veracity, that's a very, very risky situation. And in order for us to continue to have integrity, it is our job. अगर आप कभी किसी को कुछ forward करते हैं, even though आपने वो news item नहीं लिखा, आपने खुद उसे create नहीं किया, अगर आपने किसी और को forward किया, as the person forwarding it, you are responsible for the veracity of that piece of information. You might say, I'm not responsible. I was just forwarding something because people said so. So let me ask you, would you, in all seriousness, sit down in your office and in a conversation, just casually say, yeah, people kind of say that we should increase our sales by doing that. People kind of say that we should cut spending on this or that. People say this, or somebody told me this. Would you do that? No, you would not. You would not do it because that's unprofessional. You would not do it because you are expected to use your own mind. And you would not do that because your dependability is determined by how well you verify the information that comes to you. So we've just seen two pieces of information so far. Let me give you a few others very, very quickly. So check this one out, and this one is from the World Health Organization. I am sure you have I'm sure you've seen this because it went around for a while. This is the World Health Organization protocol and procedure of lockdown periods for controlling on most dangerous virus. The grammar in there should be a hint, but nonetheless, This went around. It was widely circulated. Particularly, I saw it being circulated in India. And in this case, you also notice that the Indian government is being mentioned here, but it was also circulated in Pakistan. So this piece of information, I want you to start noticing the same sort of trend. This is fake, by the way. I'm sharing something which is fake, but how do we know that? How do we know it's fake? Because it was verified by going to the World Health Organization website, and it was discovered that they didn't have it. And by saying that people shirk responsibility by saying forward as received. Well, again, that's very... actually, when you say something is forward as received, that's not the right way to phrase it. Perhaps you should say, I don't know if this is true, but in case it is true, I'm sending it to you. Can you please help me verify it? That's the complete sentence. And you're shrinking it down to forward as received, because forward as received might be understood by the other person as, I'm forwarding it to you because I received it. And I believe it to be true, which is why I thought you should know. That's not quite what you're saying, right? Be clear about what you're actually saying, and be clear about what you're communicating to other people. Over a period of time, as we start receiving this information, over a period of time, we start sending things which initially we might not have believed entirely ourselves, but eventually we come to believe it. Let me give you an example of that. So this happened over the past few days. The misinformation has real life consequences. People have been burning 5G towers in parts of Britain. And the little tweet that you see at the bottom, this person is actually asking people to burn any 5G tower they see because of misplaced causation. So misplaced causation का मतलब ये है कि if two things happen at the same time, like ice cream and dengue, then one must be the cause of the other. So either dengue makes us want to have more ice cream, or ice cream is causing dengue. That's sort of what happened with the 5G towers, because in China, 5G towers were being installed. Yes, it is true. And it was in China that, in generally the same time period, the COVID-19 pandemic spread. So if the two happen at the same time, then one must be the cause of the other. And if one is the cause of the other, then obviously at other places, any 5G towers pose a serious health risk, which is why these nutcases are going around burning these towers down. Do you see how serious the consequences can be? Now, these are equipment sort of consequences. We're not talking about human life, but actually it can also have consequences on human life. You guys might have seen in the news that a group of people from Jamaat Tabligh, the Tablighi Jamaat in India, they had not reported to the administration of Delhi that they had a large number of people in a mosque in the Nizamuddin area. And because they had not reported it, coronavirus was spreading among these people and they became a cluster. So that was real news. It actually happened, and it was very dumb of them to do that. But it happened. So they made a mistake. It was wrong. They should be punished for it. That's where it should have ended. But in India, the hashtag Corona Jihad has gone viral. So a lot of people are saying that these people intentionally brought coronavirus from overseas to spread it in India so that they would be able to reduce the number of Hindus in the country. And it sounds completely wild, but nonetheless, it will have real life consequences. It's already beginning to have consequences on Muslims living in India. Anytime you pass information on to other people, it will have consequences. So you might say that the natural solution to this would be to be doubtful, to question it. Interestingly, I saw a study, and by the way, whatever I'm sharing with you, I'm trying to include sources in there. So these slides, if you want later on, I can email them to you as well. There's a source that I'm quoting here as well. For professionals who are believers in conspiracy theories, their performance tends to be lower. They tend to be considered less trustworthy, and they are less trusting of other people. So there's a study that I've quoted at the bottom, and you see Alex Jones in here. These are very, very influential social media influencers and radio influencers who convince people that conspiracy theories are true. So if conspiracy theories, if you begin to believe conspiracy theories, then it will, in your organization, make you a less competent professional. It will make you seem like a less competent professional. Be warned and be very, very careful. But why is it that this happens? I mean, why do people come up with conspiracy theories? Who starts it? What kind of people would do something like that? Why is it that we have conspiracy theorists and what do they get out of it? Why would conspiracy theorists dwell on things like this? Well, it turns out there are two types. There are two types of conspiracy theorists. There are those who actually believe the conspiracy theories they're spreading. And then there are some who don't necessarily believe it, but they say it enough that eventually they begin to believe it. So between these two categories, it turns out that the primary reason why conspiracy theories are spreading. Okay, so I noticed some people saying they want slides. So if you are registered with us, if we have your email address, then we will send you the slides afterwards. So don't worry about that. But for now, just pay attention to what I'm saying. Why do conspiracy theories spread? There are three categories that I've divided people in. There are individual creators. There's state level misinformation, meaning a country trying to do that. And then there's the third category, which is the forwarder. अब हम हो सकता है इन तीन में से किसी एक कैटेगरी में फॉल करें. Maybe you are the forwarder. Maybe in some cases, I don't know, maybe someone here has been involved with state level misinformation. I doubt it, but nonetheless, this is misinformation that is generally done by one state against another state. But the third category, which is individual creator, where you come up with something that is then spread across and everyone hears about it. What do you get out of it? Notice, individual creators who come up with these ideas, they tend to have attention-seeking behavior. And again, whatever I'm saying, मैंने नीचे वो study mention की हुई है. इस study के बारे में मैं एहतियातन आपको बता दूं कि ये एक अभी तक peer review नहीं हुआ. ये एक pre-print जर्नल के अंदर पब्लिश हुई है स्टडी, यानी कि अभी इसके ऊपर थोड़ी सी और तहकीक होना बाकी है. तो मैं इसकी कुछ खामी आपको बता रहा हूँ. अभी ये उतनी मुकम्मल नहीं है, लेकिन कुछ इंटरेस्टिंग आइडियाज इसमें आए हैं और उन आइडियाज़ को कम से कम डिस्कशन की हद तक लिया जा सकता है. सो इंडिविजुअल क्रिएटर्स, व्हाई डू दे क्रिएट कंस्पिरेसीज? व्हाई डू दे कम अप विद दीज आइडियाज? Why do they come up with these ideas in organizations? And by the way, conspiracy theories spread in organizations as well. Why did we, for example, buy this new company? Or why did we lay off this group of people? Or why is it that that department is now merging with that other department? Why is it that we are now introducing this new product? Why is this happening, that happening? And I've been working with organizations for, over 20 years now. And as an employee, as an advisor, as a trainer, and I've done all roles. And I have come across conspiracy theories like you would not believe. These are employees of an organization who have conspiracy theories about what's happening in the organization. And I've seen them in all countries, all 4 or 5 countries where I've worked. I've seen them everywhere. And it happens here in our country as well. But why would people come up with that? Why would they do that? Very, very interesting. It's because they want attention. And that attention can fall in 3 categories. हो सकता है वो उन्हें attention चाहिए हो क्योंकि वो सोशल मीडिया पर इन्फ्लुएंसर का काम करते हैं और वो अपनी वीडियोस पोस्ट करते हैं और वो चाहते हैं कि लोग उनकी वीडियोस देखें. और अगर वो चाहते हैं कि लोग उनकी वीडियोस देखें तो फिर उन्हें कोई इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ कहनी पड़ेगी. और रियलिटी इतनी इंटरेस्टिंग नहीं होती. रियलिटी से इंटरेस्टिंग चीज़ें निकालना बहुत मुश्किल होता है. लेकिन अगर कोई मसनूई बात अपनी तरफ से बनाई जाए, दैट कैन बी इंटरेस्टिंग. यू कैन मेक इट इंटरेस्टिंग. यू कैन मेक इट एज इंटरेस्टिंग एज यू वांट. इन फैक्ट, द मोर अनएक्सपेक्टेड इट इज, द मोर इंटरेस्टिंग इट विल बी. एंड दैट्स व्हाट दीस पीपल एंड अप डूइंग. दे कम अप विद समथिंग. It's a sham, it's a lie, but they come up with something and they share it with other people, and that's how their social media channels flourish. I've seen in the recent past with the COVID-19 epidemic, I've seen various YouTubers posting videos about unvalidated treatments. Some people, there's one YouTube video that had I don't know how many million views that said, this thing doesn't hurt you. You go out about and do whatever you want as you would every day, and it's not even gonna, it's not even gonna affect you in any way. And there are other YouTube videos that are recommending treatments which could potentially be fatal for people with certain medical conditions. Completely irresponsible behavior. But why are they doing it? It's because they get paid by the number of views. They get paid by the number of people who see their stuff. They get paid to lie. I'm sure that's not the intention of these companies that have this influencer payment model, but that's how it's ended up affecting people. So this is one reason why. दूसरी reason है, कभी कभी अगर वो सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर ना भी हो तो वो क्यों इस किस्म की बात अपनी तरफ से घड़ेंगे या इम्बेलिश करेंगे या बतंगड़ बनाएंगे बात का, वो क्यों करेंगे? Because they want popularity, they want to be famous. Who said this? I heard it from, let's say I heard it from Kamran. Kamran is the one who said that ice cream and dengue are correlated. I hope you guys get the joke, by the way. Don't quote me on this, okay? So, something completely unexpected. He said it and, wow, everybody's talking about me and I'm popular. So that could be a reason. The third reason is social capital. So when you're in a gathering, everyone else has something interesting to talk about. You want to have something interesting to talk about. So this is the third reason why people tend to come up with stuff, make up stuff, and over a period of time, they become compulsive liars. And that's a psychological problem, and they need help with that. It can be treated. You can actually self-treat by questioning yourself. I hope none of you is in that situation, but if anybody is, it can be dealt with. ये मैंने आपको पहली category बताई थी. The second category was state level misinformation. This is one state spreading misinformation in another country, and this is generally considered information warfare. कभी कभी कुछ ऐसे कंट्रीज के अंदर जहाँ पर ऑथोरिटेरियन किस्म की रेजिम्स होती हैं, वहाँ पर मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन इसलिए भी फैलाई जाती है ताकि उनकी अथॉरिटी को चैलेंज ना किया जाए. So that also exists in various countries, and I don't want to mention a country because that would be inappropriate, but there are various countries that are doing that even today, even with COVID-19. One example that I will share is that of the Brazilian premier, Bolsonaro, and it is unintelligible, the sort of things he says about COVID-19. He calls it just a sniffle, it's not a big deal, and he's been going around shaking hands with people in public, and I don't know what his strategy is, but that is misinformation, and that is eventually going to hurt his country and his people. But that's just one example. There are other ways of spreading misinformation. Like some countries are saying, अभी जो bioweapon की बात कर रहे थे, कि it's a bioweapon made by one category of countries is saying from China, the other category of countries says it was made by the US. And the third one is opportunity for screen time. So leaders also want television cameras to facing them, and they want to win the upcoming election. So they want to say something unexpected, and sometimes they say things out loud which they shouldn't be saying out loud. So that's the third reason. ये अभी हम बात कर रहे थे स्टेट लेवल मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन की, और तीसरा लेवल जो कि हमारे साथ सबसे ज़्यादा क्लोजली रिलेट करता है, दिस इज़ द forwarder, the person who just sort of sends it forth. हम ऐसा क्यों करते हैं? इसकी वजह एक्चुअली एक साइकोलॉजिकल नीड है. हमें सेटिस्फैक्शन चाहिए होती है, ख़ास तौर पर उस वक्त जब हम एक डिसइनफ्रेंचाइज ग्रुप का हिस्सा हों. ख़ास तौर पे उस वक्त, I'm going to emphasize it once again, जब हम एक ऐसे ग्रुप का हिस्सा हों जो कि महकूम है या किसी मुश्किल में है और हमारे पास उसका कोई और हल नज़र नहीं आ रहा. We want the psychological satisfaction of having command of the facts. We are in this situation because somebody, some enemy outside, some enemy below, above, around, inside, enemy within, someone put us in this position, and they are to be blamed for it, and we are not to be blamed for it. And that sort of gives us this satisfaction. Yeah, we're good at this. We would have done well if they hadn't put us down. उन्होंने हमारी पीठ में खंजर घोंपा है, हमें पता नहीं था. Who is they? And that big question mark is never resolved, because you will have a conversation with multiple people in the same group and everyone will mention someone different. So people in certain parts of the US, they will mention the government, for example. Some of you might be familiar with the chemtrails conspiracy theory. Or, for example, you might be familiar with the... in fact, let me give you a local example. There's a conspiracy theory about Fatima Jinnah having been murdered. In fact, that conspiracy theory is so well established that when I visited the Flagstaff House in Karachi, one of their oldest employees, who had been alive in the time of Fatima Jinnah, but crucially was not present when the supposed murder took place, also said the same thing to me. And for a little while I believed it. If this guy saying it, who was sort of Fatima Jinnah's servant, if he's saying it, it must be true. And I investigated further and it turns out, no, it's not true. These are just examples of conspiracy theories which we might then pass on to other people. So because we want command of the facts. Number two, We want to feel like we have autonomy over our well-being. I have control of myself. I have control of my situation. I want that. That sense of control is desired. And once again, जब आपको slides मिलेंगी, you can read the article in more detail to learn more about this. Now, I'm going to give you a difficult one now. अभी मैं आपसे एक news item share करने लगा हूँ. ये news item बहुत वाइडली फॉरवर्ड किया गया था. जिस शख्स ने भेजा था ओरिजिनली, मैंने उसका नाम रिमूव कर दिया है, उसको मतलब ऊपर से ब्लॉक कर दिया है. आई वॉन्ट यू टू टेक अ लुक एट दिस and this is sort of like a graph that was made in March showing the number of cases and how rapidly they're increasing in Pakistan, and how the gradient for Pakistan is higher than other countries that are ahead of us. So for example, it's higher than for example France, it's higher than Italy, it's higher than Spain. कहने का मकसद ये है कि जब ये चीज़ शेयर की गई थी तो उस वक्त इससे एक अंडरस्टैंडिंग, इससे इम्प्लाई ये किया जा रहा था कि बच्चू ऐसी की तैसी, अब तो जो होगा सो होगा. ऊपर से उन्होंने धमकी भी दे दी कि मैं बस अब एक डिटेल वीडियो भी शेयर करूंगा और प्रोजेक्शंस भी शेयर करूंगा, बस जनाब अब कुछ होने वाला है. So if you would have received it or forwarded it, I'm not going to hold you responsible for it, but what would you look for in there? Break it down. I'm not saying this is a conspiracy, but I am saying this is someone sharing their opinion and some conclusion and some inferences which are not well founded. But this is a very, very difficult one. So whenever you come across an item like this, what are some questions you should ask yourselves? What should I ask myself? And yes, some of us are saying that nothing effectively implements control like fear. Yes, this sort of thing will spread fear. And another of our colleagues is saying the number of cases is a function of testing. हमारे पास जितनी testing kits हैं उतने ही tests हम करेंगे. अगर हमारे पास ज़्यादा आ गई तो या जल्दी टेस्ट आ गई, ज़्यादा किट्स तो हमने ज़्यादा टेस्ट कर लिए. So you're right, but you know this because you've thought about this and you are able to think about this at a deeper level. Think about the average person who would receive this and think about what are some questions they should ask themselves before forwarding it to other people. The key question here is, if I send it to other people, how will it benefit them? In a situation like this, how will this benefit other people? If I keep it to myself, for example, अगर मैं आगे forward नहीं करता, for example, I did not forward it to, actually I didn't forward it out, I only forwarded it to two people जिनके साथ मिलकर मैंने discuss करना था, and then I had a discussion with them, that's it. We did not forward it to anybody else. But what should I ask myself? I should question, अगर मैं आगे भेजूंगा तो उससे क्या effect होगा? Remember, when you're forwarding it to one person, you're actually forwarding it to a lot of people. So if I send it to someone, what effect is that going to have? In this case, the effect is going to be spreading fear, unfounded fear. It's going to spread panic. And panic is actually far worse than the pandemic itself. And I'm not saying the pandemic is easy or simple or easy to deal with or it's not bad. It is. But panic is worse because panic is going to lead to food shortages. The supply chain will get messed up. It will lead to hunger potentially. Panic is going to lead to unnecessary misery that many people will go through. So panic is actually more dangerous. So whenever information like this is shared, आपके पास आती है, अपने आप से सवाल पूछिए कि भाई अगर मैं आगे किसी से शेयर करूं तो उससे उसका मकसद क्या है? हमने अभी तक जिन चीज़ों के बारे में बात की है, also, so another person is saying people share it so others pay heed for social distancing and staying at home. Yeah, that's right. So if you're saying that stay at home, I can understand that is your message. But as Talha pointed out earlier, the trend, the data that it is showing, that data is not representative of the actual number of cases, which is why you still have to be careful. और अगर आप शेयर करेंगे इस किस्म की इंफॉर्मेशन एम्फसाइज करने के लिए, तो शायद हमें डिपेंड करना चाहिए अथॉरिटीज़ के ऊपर कि वो ये इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर करें. I realize that trust in government in this region has been low ever since the British came here. Maybe even a few hundred years before that. Trust in government has been low. I understand that. But please, in times of crisis like this, we have no choice but to depend on our government for information. Having said that, I also want to emphasize I have been tracking the information shared by provincial governments in Pakistan and the information shared by the federal government, which are different political parties. And so far, the information they've been sharing, after verifying it, has turned out to be quite accurate. That indicates to me that we need to trust our government. Otherwise, there will be problems. In a pandemic like this, even if you don't trust them otherwise, but please, in a pandemic like this, we have to learn to trust our government. Now, why is it that we don't? Because we have some biases. I have 3 biases I want to share with you. And these are 3 biases I'm going to couple with a couple of examples, with a few examples. सबसे पहले, हमारी पहली bias होती है, what I know is all there is. जो मुझे पता है बस यही सब कुछ है. ये मुमकिन नहीं कि किसी और को मुझसे ज़्यादा पता हो. That is called the curse of knowledge. अगर मेरे पास थोड़ा सा इल्म है और मुझ में इंकिसारी नहीं है, मुझे कुछ चीज़ें पता हैं, लेकिन मुझे अभी वो ह्यूमिलिटी नहीं मिली जो कि नॉलेज के साथ आनी चाहिए, then I would say what I know is all there is. So the example that I've shared with you, the picture that you saw, is Dr. Andrew Wakefield, a British physician, जिन्होंने 1990s में, लेट 1990s में इन्होंने कुछ स्टडीज़ की थी जिसमें इन्होंने कंक्लूड किया कि अगर बच्चों को इनोकुलेशन की जाती है, वैक्सीन्स दी जाती हैं, पोलियो की, जैसे हमारे मुल्क में तपेदिक की और खसरा की और जो मुख्तलिफ बीमारियाँ होती हैं, जो एपिडेमिक्स होती हैं, उनकी वैक्सीन्स दी जाती हैं, तो उससे उन बच्चों को ऑटिज़म हो जाता है. So he took some data, and based on that data, that's what he concluded. And he published it in a very respectable journal magazine called The Lancet. अच्छा, वो उन्होंने पब्लिश कर दिया. इसकी वजह से पूरी दुनिया में एक तहलका मच गया कि अच्छा, लैंसेट में एक आर्टिकल पब्लिश हुआ है और उसमें इन्होंने कहा है कि ये डॉक्टर एंड्रू वेकफील्ड है, इन्होंने स्टडी की है और इन्होंने कहा है कि इससे साबित होता है कि वैक्सीन नहीं करवानी चाहिए, वैक्सीनेशन नहीं होनी चाहिए. वो जनाब एक कोहराम मच गया, दुनिया भर में एक मूवमेंट शुरू होगी जिन्हें एंटी वैक्सर्स कहते हैं. फॉर अ व्हाइल माय फैमिली वाज इन्फ्लुएंस्ड बाय दैट एज वेल. वैक्सीनेशन नहीं होनी चाहिए, बिल्कुल नहीं करवानी चाहिए, बच्चे को वैक्सीनेशन नहीं करवानी चाहिए, कहीं उसे ऑटिज्म ना हो जाए. और ये इतनी परेशान कुन बात थी, ये इतनी स्प्रेड हुई कि एज एन आउटकम ऑफ दैट अ लार्ज नंबर ऑफ किड्स वर नॉट वैक्सीनेटेड, और वो बीमारियां जो उससे पहले नापैद हो गई थी वो दोबारा आनी शुरू हो गई. एक मुख्तलिफ अंदाज में ये प्रॉब्लम हमारे यहाँ पोलियो की वैक्सीन के साथ आई कि अगर पोलियो की वैक्सीन करवाएंगे तो कुछ और प्रॉब्लम्स होंगी, और वो यहाँ पे इंफॉर्मेशन फैलनी शुरू हुई जिसकी वजह से अभी तक मुल्क के कुछ इलाकों में पोलियो मुकम्मल तौर पर ख़त्म नहीं किया जा सका. This is an example of somebody saying, I have this specific piece of information. I read something that Dr. Andrew Wakefield said, and he said it in the Lancet. He said it in 1998. Never mind कि उसको बाद में discredit कर दिया गया. Never mind कि 2010 में एक apology शाया हुई. Never mind कि उसको अपनी नौकरी से निकाल दिया गया, उससे उसका टाइटल ले लिया गया, उसे अपने मुल्क छोड़ के जाना पड़ा. And eventually he settled in the US, where, guess what? He is one of the faces of the anti-vaxxer movement, and he's still saying the same stuff. My point is, sometimes we have this curse of knowledge, and this curse of knowledge sometimes prevents us from trying to gain new knowledge. So this is the first bias that we have. There's a second bias, which is the more unexpected something is, the more true it is. तो आपको नीचे कुछ characters नज़र आ रहे हैं. कभी आपको मौका मिले तो MS Word में जाकर टाइप कीजिएगा Q33NY, और जो फॉन्ट की सेटिंग है उसमें वेब डिंग्स डाल दीजिएगा या विंग डिंग्स डाल दीजिएगा. विंग डिंग्स अगर आप करेंगे Q33NY पर, which was a flight in New York, and if you type it up you will see this, and this actually came out right after 9/11. So imagine the effect this is going to have on people around. So I saw this, and by the way, I was influenced by this. I said, what the heck? It shows a plane, it shows 2 buildings, and it shows danger, and it shows the cross of David, the Star of David. That means, hold on, what's it saying? It's like a message. The more unexpected something, the more true it is. You see, we are not comfortable with ambiguity. And because of that discomfort with ambiguity, we try to find concrete explanations. Here, this is an attempt to get a concrete explanation. 9/11, who on earth would do something so terrible, kill such a large number of people? Who would do that? कौन पागल होगा? और लोग मुसलमानों को ब्लेम कर रहे थे और कहते मुसलमान कैसे कर सकता है ये काम? अलबत्ता when somebody sends you, and this is ambiguous, right? I don't think it was them. I don't think the people being mentioned. I don't think it was them. And then suddenly somebody sends you a news story like this. Okay, type in Q33NY, which was the flight number for one of the 4 flights, and you will get this. It's unexpected, which is why many of us believed it to be true. And the outcome was that it was shared widely, and a large number of people to this day believe that this is evidence that 9/11 was staged. I don't know whether it was staged. I don't really, at this point, it has stopped mattering. It's been 19 years, and the world has sort of moved on. However, caution is still necessary. इस तरह के patterns, अगर आपको मौका मिले कभी सर्च कीजिएगा गूगल पे Ramsey theory. So it's a theory in mathematics that when you have a large data set, उसमें कहीं ना कोई पैटर्न होगा और उस पैटर्न से कोई ना कोई आप सेंस निकाल सकते हैं. कभी आपको मौका मिले तो लेट कर ऊपर जो आपको बादल नजर आते हैं आसमान पर उनको देखिएगा. थोड़ी देर के बाद आपको उनमें पैटर्न नजर आने शुरू हो जाएंगे, क्योंकि इंसान का जहन पैटर्न तलाश करता है. रात के वक्त अगर आप किसी ऐसी जगह रहते हैं जहां पे बहुत ज़्यादा रोशनी नहीं है, रात के वक्त सितारों को देखिएगा. कुछ देर बाद आपको सितारों में भी पैटर्न नजर आने शुरू हो जाएंगे. उसकी वजह यह है कि इंसान का जहन पैटर्न तलाश करता है. तो पैटर्न की तलाश में अगर आपको कोई अनएक्सपेक्टेड चीज़ मिलती है, दैट इज़ नॉट एविडेंस, दैट इज़ जस्ट अ पैटर्न. If you believe something to be true, that requires hard work, that requires proper investigation. And that proper investigation is what is expected from a professional. And that is what I'm trying to emphasize. मैंने आपसे 2 चीज़ों के बारे में बात की है, attention to detail and comfort with ambiguity. These need to be built. हमारी तीसरी बायस है कोरिलेशन इज कॉजेशन. 2 चीज़ें जो एक वक्त में होती हैं तो इसका मतलब है कि उनका आपस में कोई ना कोई ताल्लुक है. मैंने आपको शुरू में एक absurd सी मिसाल दी थी आइसक्रीम और डेंगू फीवर की, लेकिन यहाँ पर एक और मिसाल है जो हमने देखी थी, विच इज़ 5G के सेल टावर्स और उनके साथ साथ कोरोना वायरस का फैलना. तो दिस इज कोरिलेशन, एक वक्त में होती हैं, नॉट कॉजेशन दैट वन कॉजेज द अदर. सो विद दैट आई वॉन्ट टू गिव यू गाइज अ स्केल कि थोड़ा सा डाउट होना चाहिए, लेकिन डाउट की भी एक लिमिट होती है. तो डाउट हो तो कितना हो. सो आई एम गोइंग टू इंट्रोड्यूस टू यू माई ओन डाउट स्केल, कि हम डाउट रखें तो कितना रखें. आस्क योर सेल्फ वेयर यू स्टैंड ऑन दिस स्केल. सो डाउट अगर 0 है, हम बिल्कुल डाउट नहीं करते और आगे फॉरवर्ड कर देते हैं, वी आर बीइंग नाइव. अगर हम एहतियात करते हैं, थोड़ी सी इन्वेस्टिगेशन करते हैं, देन वी आर बीइंग कॉशियस. अगर हम हर चीज़ के बारे में डाउट करना शुरू कर देते हैं कि नहीं, अगर मुझे भेजा गया है तो डेफिनेटली गलत होगा, इसके अंदर किसी ना किसी का कोई मकसद होगा, देन वी आर स्केप्टिकल. और अगर हम उस डाउट को इस ऐसे लेवल पे ले जाते हैं कि वो चीज़ें जो हमारे पास इस्टेब्लिश ट्रूथ्स हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल आवर ओन एग्जिस्टेंस, तो फिर हम सिनिक्स बन जाते हैं. आई डोंट हैव अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम, लेकिन अगर आपको कभी मौका मिले तो I think therefore I am, that's a famous statement. कभी गूगल कीजिएगा ये किसने कही थी और क्यों कही थी. You will find a very, very interesting story behind this. I think therefore I am. This was actually the result of a thought experiment because the person doubted it. His name was Descartes. Cartesian coordinates actually come from Descartes. So Descartes, he started questioning, do I actually exist? Is that really, how do I know this is reality? How do I know I'm not just, dreaming all of this? And he kept doubting and doubting. He went into extreme doubt and eventually he said, no, hold on, I can't really go that far, मैं पागल हो जाऊंगा. तो I think मैं सोच तो रहा हूँ ना, इसका मतलब ये एग्जिस्ट कर रहा होगा. So he came up with a simplistic explanation. मैं एहतियात आपको ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि एक्सट्रीम डाउट भी मुनासिब नहीं होता और नो डाउट भी मुनासिब नहीं होता. वी हैव टू फिगर आउट व्हाट द बेयर मिनिमम इज. और उसके लिए ज़रूरी है 2 चीज़ें. सबसे पहले, it requires attention to detail, number 1. And number 2, it requires comfort with ambiguity. There will be some things that we will not know, at least not yet. And because we don't know them yet, because we don't have that information yet, that's an opportunity for us to find out. Now, as one of our friends here, Said Bhai, saying your level of doubt can vary with the medium. Yes, that's right. आपके source of information जो आ रहा है, आप उस source of information के मुताबिक अपना level of doubt change कर सकते हैं. Absolutely. So as I'm closing this, I want to leave you with these 3 points. सबसे पहले हमने अपने अंदर एक info caution develop करना है so that we can become more trustworthy individuals. Number 1, read and learn. So you get some information, ask, who benefits and who loses, and for that you might need to investigate it further. If it's worth it, if you care enough about it, then investigate further. दूसरा है build your attention to detail. आप कितनी बारीकी से चीज़ों का जायजा ले सकते हैं. मैंने आपसे स्पेसिफिक्स का जिक्र किया था कि आप नोटिस करते हैं उन स्पेसिफिक्स को या नहीं. कि आप नोटिस करते हैं मिसाल के तौर पे कि अगर कोरोना वायरस एक लफ्ज़ है तो उन्होंने कोरोना और वायरस को अलग अलग क्यों लिखा हुआ है. Similarly, improve your comfort with ambiguity, which is plan to not know. You have to assume that you will not have all the information. Shift from something is to something could be. It's ambiguous. I don't know yet, but I need to find out. And as I find out more and more, that is when I will become more confident of it, and then I will be able to share it with you. Now, when we get information, it is our job to investigate before we share it with others. Information that we then share with others reflects our own professionalism. And thirdly, the ability to share information depends on our ability to gain new knowledge. So the more you learn, the more your ability to assess information also expands. So with that, I'm going to close this discussion because we just have 5 minutes until this webinar was supposed to end. I'd like to see if you guys have any questions and see if I can respond to them. So herd immunity protects Pakistan because we are so dirty already. Okay, yeah, so I've seen this going around. A lot of people have been mentioning that Pakistanis are immune. Unfortunately, that is not true. I'm saying unfortunately because I wish that was true. Unfortunately, that is not true. We are just earlier on in the curve, and the data shows, and if you're interested, I can share, we can send you a little graph that shows number of new cases. जितनी तेज़ी से बढ़ रहे थे वो exponential था, लेकिन 15 दिन हो चुके थे जब हमारे लॉकडाउन को शुरू हुए तो 15 दिन के बाद number of new cases में कमी आनी शुरू हो गई. So you could see that lockdown is working and we're just earlier on in the curve. Okay, government authorities have conflict of opinions. Yeah, they don't necessarily agree with each other and they share it in public. Yes, that is true. That is a reflection of some incompetence. You are right. You're right. Blue pill, ignorance is bliss, and red pill. Yeah, that's right. So I agree. Welcome to the Matrix. I'm still looking for questions to see if there are any. If there, while we're waiting for questions, let me once again review some of the elements of news that you will get that will make it believable. हमने कहा था वो specific होती है, हमने कहा था वो unexpected होती है, हमने कहा था कि वो आम तौर पे concrete होती है, यानी उसमें इतनी details होती हैं कि आपके जहन में एक mental picture बन जाती है, वो credible होती है, and it tends to be slightly anti-authority. It tends to have some emotional aspect to it as well. So these are some, and generally it tends to be in the form of a story. So these are aspects which can make a news item more believable. Right, so if something sounds beneficial, how is sharing it mentioning that it could be but not 100% true? That's actually a question for yourself. Do you want to be known by others as somebody who shares information and is not sure of that information, him or herself? I leave you to make your own decision. I would rather not do that for myself, but everybody is entitled to their own choices. Okay. Do the live session or leave videos from time to time. There's a lot of misinformation going on. I didn't quite understand that. I assume that you meant that this live session will be available afterwards. If that is the case, then yes, इसी लिंक के ऊपर ये सेशन लाइव अवेलेबल होगा. आपने अगर सब्सक्राइब करना है हमारे चैनल के ऊपर तो प्लीज़ सब्सक्राइब कर लीजिए. उससे हमारे जितने भी नए वीडियोस होती हैं आपको उनकी आई थिंक नोटिफिकेशन मिलती रहेगी, और जब हम लाइव जाएंगे तो आपको पता चल जाएगा उसके बारे में. एन एक्सपोनेंशियल ग्रोथ इज नो मोर देयर. नो रिजवान, इट इज स्टिल ग्रोइंग एक्सपोनेंशियली बट एट वेरी वेरी स्मॉल रेट. हमने देखा था कि 15% ग्रोथ थी, 15% ग्रोथ, like every day 15% new cases, every day 15% additional cases. लेकिन जब से लॉकडाउन हुआ उसकी वजह से ड्रॉप होके it came down to 3% new cases. So it was a significant drop because of the lockdown, and it happened early on. So that is why things have calmed down a bit. We'll see how things progress in the future, inshallah. Okay, so group of doctors in the EU found cancer in vaccine, and the other day they were found dead. How can we assume they found the truth? Okay, so Mudassir, you will have to share with us who this group of doctors was. How do we know that they actually found some sort of a vaccine? And the fact that they were found dead, has this been reported on news media? If not, then maybe we can call the local police station in that area to verify this information. So we will need the pieces of this story in order for us to determine its veracity. It sounds unexpected and it sounds emotional as well, but I don't know. We have to check to see whether it's true. Okay, what about I feel like it's true, so it must be true. And how are these perceptions are built? So if you feel that something is true, yeah, that's a human thing, by the way. That's a very natural thing. And मैंने आपसे 2-3 मिसालें share की हैं कि I sometimes fall for many of these. For example, the anti-vaxxer movement, for a while, I thought it was true. Until it required a lot of investigation. Somebody sat me down. Somebody who's a friend of mine who has an autistic son. I sat down with him. And that is when I questioned, okay, hold on, this guy is saying it. Then I actually started studying. My mind opened up a bit and I began to discover actually is not true. And there were signs all along, but I didn't know about it. So we might feel that something is true, but just because we feel that something is true is not adequate for us to share it with other people. You can go on believing it, but when you share it with others, that's an added responsibility. Please suggest how to escape from depression. Isn't there a thought if you get more information, then you will be under more depression? Actually, it depends on what kind of information. And if you're talking about the sort of information we get via our mobile devices, these days, a lot of people, without knowing it, वो panic spread कर रहे हैं, fear spread कर रहे हैं. और अगर आपके पास लगातार ऐसी information आती रहे, तो इंसान को actually, इंसान के जहन में इस किस्म की चीज़ों की आदत नहीं है कि information की जब stream आती है, हमें गलत फहमी ये हो जाती है कि पूरी दुनिया में हो ही यही रहा है. अगर आपको एक दिन में 10 बातें बताई जाएं कि मिसाल के तौर पे if you're watching the news, और आपको सुबह से न्यूज़ आनी शुरू हो कि फला जगह ये हो गया, फला जगह ये हो गया, फला जगह ये हो गया, and they don't mention any good news, they only mention the bad news. Towards the end of the day, your perception of the world will be, it's a terrible world, it's full of trauma and tragedy, and it's not worth living. That is the perception you will form, and that comes from the way information is being shared with you. But the control is in your own hands. Stop receiving that information, concentrate on things that you have conscious control over, and start doing something that will help you develop yourself. That focus, choosing what to focus on. We talked about it this in the last webinar last week, and the link is available. You can view that webinar again. But you have to choose what you're going to focus on, and that choice will help you step out of it. Please tell where we stand today in this crisis. I assume that you're talking about the COVID-19 pandemic and where we stand. I don't necessarily have any new information for you. All the information that I'm going to share very briefly is public. We can see that the number of new cases, the rate of increase has gone down, which means it seems relatively in control, but we can't really stay in lockdown forever, which means the lockdown will need to be opened up. How will we deal with that? Nobody knows. I assume that the government has some sort of a plan. It's a plan that may work, inshallah, and we're hoping that it will. We will all have to participate by continuing to practice social distancing until a treatment is available. It will be a new kind of world, and that, by the way, is going to be a topic that we will be talking about next week. We will have another webinar next week. I'm thinking around 2 to 3 on Thursday, and if that time doesn't work for you, तो please यहाँ type कर दीजिएगा 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. on Thursday. If that doesn't work, तो बता दीजिएगा यहाँ पे. And that webinar is going to be about what this new world may look like. This new world, this post-COVID-19 world, what will it look like for us in terms of how we deal with our work situations and how we deal with our families? What might specifically that look like for individuals? So we will talk about that next week, inshallah. Okay, so how we stand in this crisis as a nation. Like I said, things are better, but we're still ambiguous about what this future is going to be like. So remember, we have to become more comfortable with this ambiguity. It's not easy, I know that, but that's something that has to be done. Make a shorter version in Urdu so we can share it like the virus. Faisal, I will try to do that, but remember, this sort of stuff is quite boring, and in comparison with some of the more juicy, spicy sort of stories that come in the form of conspiracy theories, this sort of stuff is actually not that interesting. But I will try. We will try and put something together, and we'll share it on the channel as well. Okay, are there any methods or techniques to verify information coming from experts? Oh yes, there are. Actually, that's a good point. I'm going to post 2 or 3 sources. www.snopes.com. I'll ask one of my colleagues to type it up if they could. www.snopes.com. This is one. The second one is for verifying retraction of papers. So it's called retractiontracker.com. www.retractiontracker.com. So we will put those in there. Humbly and strongly suggest to please conduct a webinar on how we can utilize this time while working from home, new horizons, new opportunities. Yes, that is something, inshallah, we are intending to talk about next week, where you talked about choosing what to focus on. Yeah, so Mariam, if you just click on the channel, if you know, in this YouTube video, if you just go down, if you click on my name in this channel, you will see last week's webinar. And then, you know, one of my colleagues can probably put in a link to that video in the chat as well. Okay. Oh, so another person is saying it should be on Sundays. Actually, I don't mind doing it on Sundays, but I've discovered that Sundays generally don't work very well for most people. So if people have a strong preference for Sundays, those of you who are still here, please go ahead and type in Sundays and we'd be happy to do it on Sundays. No problem. Lastly, what I also need to do is for our webinar next week, I'm going to put in the sign up form. So for those of you who are here, I'm going to paste this link. Please sign up here so that we know that you will be there, and we will then communicate the timing accordingly. So I've posted the link in there, and I don't see any new questions. So I will just beg leave. Thank you very much. I hope this helped you out. And I hope that you will remember the few lessons about attention to detail, about being comfortable with ambiguity, and about ensuring the veracity of information before you forward it on. I wish you all the very best with the extraordinary sort of respect you will carry among your peers for your wisdom. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.